Hello, everybody. Welcome to Inside the Booth. I am your host, Dan Arena, the Law. We have
Dreaming Tabitha, of course.
And then
Matthew James.
Matthew James. So welcome, everybody. So tonight we're going to be talking about Terror on the Prairie, the new Gina Carano movie. I had to think there. I was going to say Cara Dune. But
I think the people will forgive you for that one.
Oh, you think so?
I think so.
So yeah. Someone says start the campfire. Yes, everybody start the campfire.
Speaking of which, just a really quick merch plug. If you want to get your campfire t-shirt, there's a link down below. Instant man flick. Just add campfire.
That's right.
Shirts are super comfortable, by the way.
Nice.
Nice.
That's good to know. All right, so Terror on the Prairie. Let's get into it a little bit. So we're going to be brutally honest. We're going to be diving deep in spoilers, heavy spoilers. So if you haven't seen this movie, you don't have to really stay to watch, but we do appreciate you if you do. But if you did see the movie and like to see what our take of the movie is,
Stick around.
Put where you are. Yeah.
Yes.
So who wants to go first? What are we're going to talk about the plot first? We're just going to talk overall. What do we think? Or do you want to just get into the plot stuff? I don't know. What do we want to
Well, I get
First impressions. Do you like first impressions?
First impressions.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I could go first. First impressions was that this was definitely a breath of fresh air and that it was not at all woke. At least I didn't get that impression at all, which I know that's what the studio was big and intentional with. So first impressions was that this was just no matter how you feel about everything else in the film, I think anybody could honestly say this movie was a breath of fresh air as far as no agenda being pushed. And I'm sorry, I keep staring at my face because I keep turning green and red like whenever I do this. And it's driving me crazy.
Just keep going.
I can't, Dan. It's your turn. So that's my first impression, and I'm going to adjust and fix what I need to do because this drives me crazy.
Okay, first impression for me was...
Are you making that face because of the bug that's flying in front of your camera, or
no?
Because
No, that was my impression. I was like, ooh, ah, oh.
Those were multiple impressions throughout, I suspect.
Yeah, I guess so. It was a good movie, but brutally, honestly, I was confused and lost in most of the movie. So
your first impression was you were lost.
Yeah, that's my first impression.
Okay.
Matthew.
My first impression, it was okay. I mean, Daily Wire is definitely doing something new with what they want to do. Good. Shout out to them, man. Like, good job for taking the reins of trying to produce like good content and just not political content. But in first impression, it was okay. I mean, wasn't anything to like go crazy about. It was okay. I'm mediocre about it.
Yeah. We might need to give a disclaimer for some of the folks in the chat and people that are going to rewatch watch this show, is that our reflections of this film have nothing to do with the personality or the character of any of the actors and things like that.
Very
we
true.
know that we're a big
disclaimer.
We're a part of a big community with the hashtag We Love Gina Carano, and the whole do not comply and everything like that. We have a great respect and admiration. At least I know I can speak for myself when I say great respect and admiration for what Gina Carano did in leaving Hollywood, but still pursuing her dreams and proving to the rest of the world that you don't have to bend the knee in order to be successful. And so.
Amen.
Whatever we have to say about this film is not necessarily a reflection of the actors or the people that created this in general. We're strictly going at this from entertainment value
purposes. Yes.
Purposes.
Yes.
So
well said. Well said. Thank you.
Throw that out there because I know
we
don't want anybody
review.
to think that we're Gina Carano haters. Like,
yeah, that's right. And it is a review. That's right. We're supposed to do movie reviews. This is a movie. We're reviewing it. So
and it's Thursday.
And it's Thursday.
Where am I?
Yeah, what happened? Where am I?
I don't know. I am in some twisted, colorful world here, and I'm getting seasick just watching myself. I swear, I don't understand. Anyway, I'm just gonna leave it alone. Got to leave it alone. All right.
Supposedly the camera looks a little better. I don't know how.
Exactly. It's like the Twilight. See, this is what happens. It's Weird Thursday. It's a Twilight Thursday.
Yeah,
Dan looks better than me, guys. Like, what's that all about?
Yeah, the HD quality. That's for sure. How's mine look? Mine kind of looks the same.
We're not talking about you, Matthew. I'm talking about my struggles here.
Your face is a little dark. That's all right. Your face is a little dark, Matthew, but that's okay. We'll forgive you.
So that's some interesting first impressions. Confusion, breath of fresh air, and all right.
Yes.
So the next thing would be then, because for those that don't know, we talk about, we base our movies on 5 categories: music, acting, plot, cinematography, and allegory. So I think it'll be really interesting. I can't wait to hear what Matthew has to say on a lot of this stuff, because he likes to get into the nitty gritty, and this movie is definitely nitty and gritty.
That's true. That's true.
All right, let's start with the plot. Oh, furniture already, huh?
Oh my! Hey, Angela Clark, good to see you. Sorry, I know we're supposed to recognize people later on, but I was just like, gasp! It's Angela.
It's Angela. All right. I think JT kicked the furniture out.
Thank you, JT. You the man.
So, or it was R2. I don't know.
R2, you're the man too.
Yeah, whichever.
You're a man. Yeah.
You're a man. All right. Let's go with the plot first. Who wants to go first? Tabitha, you go first. I want to hear what you have to say.
Then he'll copy after you.
Exactly.
No.
Just
does that mean you want me to go first?
Well, would you like me to give the actual plot first, and then give us your interpretation of the plot?
Yes. Let's do that.
Okay. Based on IMDb, if I were just to read the simple sentence here: a frontier woman fights for her life against a ruthless gang of outlaws on the plains of Montana. Dan, would you like to spice that up a little bit?
Yeah. It was a plot of confusion and not knowing what is really going on. This woman is, I don't know what the heck she's doing in the wintertime. Don't know what the husband's doing. The first 5 minutes, honestly, I wanted to shut it off and say, why am I watching this? It was very quiet.
It's Gina Carano.
I know. That's why, Gina Carano. But I knew I was doing this, so I had to finish it out. So I did.
We thank you for your sacrifice.
I mean, it got better at the end. I'll have to say that.
Okay.
So you don't really understand the plot until almost at the end, really, so this woman hates where she lives. The husband leaves to go get some supplies and decides to try to find a job. Couldn't find one, so he decides to drink and gamble it all away. And then he comes back riding on a horse he didn't have at the beginning. And then he comes on top of the bad guys that are chasing his wife.
I want to take your description and edit everything from the movie to fit your description.
Create our own trailer of
and then
Dan's
this woman shooting these people like a stormtrooper, misses every time. And then blood. There's lots of blood. And then that's then they live happily ever after.
The end.
The end.
Okay.
So do you give it a point after all that?
I can't. I don't know. I mean, it was okay.
Dan is struggling over.
I am very much struggling, but because the beginning was like, I didn't know what was happening, didn't know why.
Well, let me ask you this: Have you watched a lot of westerns, like the feel of westerns in the past?
Like
the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah,
Once upon a time in the West,
To be fair, Dan, you're really not supposed to know what happens in a movie until you watch it. That's the whole reason we watch movies.
Right, but I don't know. It just didn't seem like it built it up any or anything like that. It didn't seem like there's like, they could have at least showed that the husband used to be a Confederate, then he turned into a Union soldier, and then he burnt down his boss or the Confederate general's whatever house down, and didn't know that the little girl was in it. That you don't know until the end of the movie. That's like, why? What's going on? Why is this all happening? And then at the end of the movie, you're like, oh, that's why, because the Confederate man is telling the now Union man, hey, this is what you did. You killed my daughter. And he's like, oh, I didn't know. Well, hello. Could have been nice to know what was kind of going on from the beginning, but you don't get any inlink of what is going on. You're just watching this movie, and it's just, it goes.
Are you going to give it a point, half a point, no point?
Quarter point.
Dan might have to downgrade even to a quarter. You
got to water it down.
Quarter point. A quarter point sounds good. I'll just give it a no point because I was just everywhere. I didn't know what was going on. A lot of continuity issues too. He rides in on the wagon, with two black horses in a wagon. He leaves the town with a brown horse. Where'd the brown horse come from? Why didn't he have his other horses in the wagon?
Oh. Because he needed to rush home. You can't rush home on a wagon.
Well, where'd he get the horse? He just lost everything through gambling. He even gave up his little grandpa watch, and he was like, oh,
it could
I'll do that.
be called stealing.
No, that's true. I guess he could have stole it.
Or borrowed. Matthew, I want to hear your take on the plot.
How'd you like my take?
Yeah. Hey, it was honest.
Did you give it a plot, Tabitha?
I haven't done the plot yet, but I was just like, after what you had said to Dan, I'm like, I want to know what Matthew says.
Gotcha.
I mean, is there a plot? Sort of. The plot points to move the story along wasn't really solid. Like the whole point, like the beginning brought you in when the guy is getting scalped on the head. Like I'm like, whoa, okay, these guys are doing something crazy, and then we get to the house. Then we get to the house, and the only reason she needs to protect the family in her house is pretty much what she observed on the horse. That's a very weak plot point to me. And then she goes in and then kind of goes crazy. I think if they did it, Western should be a little bit more subtle. Like if there was a picture in the room and the guys are in there and they're scanning and they actually see okay, this is the actual house of the guy we're looking for. There's a connection there. Mm-hmm. And so that, I think that would be, I think that would have been a more subtle. What? Okay.
Do we get an additional member of?
Yeah, she's doing something with phones. But yeah, the whole.
We just saw a human being crawl on the
a partial human being.
So the whole plot points didn't really move it along steadily. It kind of just sprinkled here and there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean. I get the whole point, okay, I'm going to protect my family and everything, but That's good. I like the connection with like when the guy is like in the town and the hooker is trying to get him to like to have sleep with him, and he's like, no, I gotta get going, I gotta get back to like my own family. Like you don't really see that a lot in films. I've only seen that in a couple films. It's usually like the Proverbs guy going down to the house of death and never coming back out.
Right.
Yeah. So there is a plot. I would probably give it a half a point. It's not a hard, solid point. They got something going on, but it was a little weak. They needed to kind of do it a little bit more subtly. It just happened too fast. Because you felt in the house like, okay, these guys are warming up to her and everything, and she's feeding them, and then within an instant, it completely changes just because she saw what's on their horse.
Yeah,
if they were that evil in the beginning, my understanding is their personalities would have been that evil to the family there. They would have kicked the door in and started shooting up the place like crazy, but maybe like had a picture in the house, and then they started going nuts. It's like, okay, this is the guy we're looking for. This is his family. Let's
because it's not like Facebook today. It's not like they could have known what his wife would have looked like.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Like an old timey photo, like a black and white photo they had in the West or something, where they're like,
with their house in the background.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
The family cow. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's characters. I'll get into characters later, but yeah, half a point for the plot.
Tabitha.
I want to say that I liked the plot of the movie. I just think that it needed to be refined.
Yeah.
In general, I liked the plot of the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
I will agree with Dan that there were some moments where I was a little bit confused as to what the plot of the movie was. You kind of get a sense of it in the beginning. You've got this woman who is struggling with this new lifestyle. She is not accustomed to the harshness of the prairie and farm life and things like that. And, just the struggles of solitude and things like that. So I was getting that, but I wasn't. Yeah, there seemed to be a couple of times where the plot, you weren't sure where it was going,
right?
Because it almost seemed like there were two plots, but eventually they came back around and they met. And so, like I said, I liked the plot. There were some things that, like I said, they were a little bit strange. Could have maybe been written better. It's kind of, it's one of those things where I want to give a lot more grace because this was an independent film. This did not have a Hollywood budget. I don't know what the and everything like that as far as the writers, their experience levels. But based on what I saw, so it's kind of hard because you want to give it some grace because
when I say plot points you have in screenwriting, you have like 10 things that happen in the first act, plot point. And then 10 things that happen in the second half, plot point 2, the lead to the third and final act. It was kind of like boop, boop.
I think I'll just go ahead and just say I'm going to give the plot a point because overall I liked what they were trying to say. I just am a little bit divided because of how it was executed. But overall, the plot about the fact that this was a woman that basically needed to come to terms with the situation that she was in and this level of growth that came from her. I thought that was really cool, cool. And there was a family dynamic there too. It's just, again, it was kind of rusty. I liked the fact so I had to kind of readjust my brain, right? It's almost like when you're going to decide to start reading Shakespeare. You kind of need to adjust because it's different, right? You have to kind of figure out, okay, because so like we are accustomed to things really being evident in films, right? To move the story along. And like Dan said in the beginning, I was like, where is this going? Because it is quite a lengthy opener for the film, and everything like that. But all of a sudden, because you were like, what is the backstory? Like, why does she have such a hard time? She looks like a prairie wife. What's the big deal? But you start noticing little things. Like, I don't know if anybody noticed the teacups or the coffee cups. And you'll notice that they look They were fancy coffee cups.
So,
when he was away, I just thought of when he was away, it'd be cool if he had like a black and white like flashback to like what happened or something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Really, when he's like drunk or something, he's thinking about it. That would be interesting.
Or maybe
that would
when
have
he's
been
like
very
sleeping or something, you know.
But this all of a sudden when I saw just for me when I saw the coffee cup and I just saw how they were taking care of it and just little things here and there, the picture of her parents on the wall, all of a sudden I started realizing you kind of need to pay attention with this movie. And I like that just because of the fact that it makes the movie a little bit deeper for me. It kind of had like almost like an Alfred Hitchcock feel to it, in that you needed to pay attention to things in order to understand in order to understand the film. And so that's not for everybody, because again, we're in this fast-paced generation where we just need it to be like blazing in the sky, like this is what's happening. With this, I liked it, and we'll give the plot a point because of the fact that it was creative and different.
Right. Okay, so you gave it a point?
I do.
All right, so that being said, it is now 20 minutes in, so we will say hello to everybody.
Hello to everybody.
I know everybody's, itching to be said hi to. So,
of course. And we appreciate you all being here for our special bonus night.
That's it. So we had Drunk 3PO at 8:18. I don't think he's here any longer,
he's
but
he
did leave a message to check out Tabitha's Terror on the Prairie art. Yes.
Oh, that's right. I do have it right here.
And yes, she did a great job with that chibi. I love it. We have Uncle Mike in the house. Hello, Uncle Mike. We got Benjamin Joyner. I think that's his name. Hello, Benjamin.
It's all about those Benjamins.
That's right. Send them my way. We got Dax Morgan. We got Lady Marine. What's up, Lady Marine? We got LuLuBlue. Hey, what's up, Lulu? Jacob. What's up, Jacob? We got Kaylee. What's up, Kaylee? We got JT Gunter. We got Ryan from Legion Games. We got Mrs. R2 the Icky. We have R2 the Icky. We have Angela Clark stopped in. And you said hello earlier already with her. Then we had some furniture pop in, and it had to get thrown out.
We don't say hello to the furniture. The furniture is not welcome here.
That's right.
Because they're old.
Then we got a bunch of stuff from Ryan and R2, and they were saying some funny stuff earlier. We got Maria from Unlocking Lore, but she is no longer with us. But hello, Maria. If you are watching this over again, you'll see us say hi to you. We were not ignoring you. It's just a different format. And then we got Brian B. What's up, Brian B? Brian. Did I get everybody?
He likes the fact that the movie was deep, that you kind of had to think about what you were seeing to piece it together. And, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody.
I just now got to it. Drunk 3PO seems like he's still here.
Yes,
what's up?
And Rogue Disney. Hey, Rogue.
He said, whoa. And then Lisa is here. Oh, Rogue Disney's here. Hey, Rogue. And Lisa H. So yeah,
R2 says that's a lot of icky in here tonight. That's right.
R2.
Right. If you guys didn't see our last video, it was girls' night here, and we had Maria and Mrs. R2 the Icky on here, as well as comics and cosmetics. That was a good episode. When this is done, you should check it out. It was like walking on eggshells, which is what we're doing tonight with this review.
Yes, it seems like it. So let's get into the acting. Now, since everybody says hello.
Hello.
So the acting. Do you want me to go first, or
always?
Might as well, right? Since I started with the plot. All right. So the acting. You know what? I did enjoy the acting. The acting was good. It was top notch. I like Gina Carano. She acts very well. The cowboy husband there. He did a good job. He was a good looking guy too. He wasn't like he was ugly. So.
Right, he looked like a cowboy, like he could have easily fit into those old westerns. Like I thought he had the perfect.
Yeah, he had that face.
Grit to him. Yeah.
Jealous of his beard.
I wasn't, but
I think the boy did good. The son did good acting. Obviously the bad guys did some good acting. And the
horses were the best.
Yeah, the horses did the best.
The horses were I don't know. That snake was pretty convincing.
You know, the baby was okay.
The baby was okay.
but the baby wasn't there.
She's got a long way to go.
It were 2 babies, by the way.
Oh, were there? And then there were sometimes no babies.
What I meant was that there were 2 actors for the babies.
2 actors for the babiys. Oh, okay.
Apparently, one of the babies really liked Gina, and the other baby did not. So that's kind of
nice.
sad.
JT says, bad guy was the only actor.
So overall, you apparently liked everybody.
I liked the acting. Yeah, it was good. You know, I mean, for what it was worth, the acting was well done. So I'll give it
for what it was worth.
For what they gave me.
For what the movie was worth, the acting was good.
Okay, do you give acting a point?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was interesting, JT. But we're not there
JT,
yet. Snakes don't live in the snow.
I looked that up because that was something that bothered me. But actually, if you do your research, because I had issue with that. I'm like, that's just stupid. Snakes don't come out in the wintertime. Actually, sometimes they do because they're cold-blooded and they sometimes move around and stuff. So that wasn't so far-fetched as I was led to believe.
We should review snakes on a plane.
Yes. I don't think if you want Tabitha to ever sleep again in her life, you guys will do that on your own. But yeah, I did at first have an issue with the snake being in the house like that because I'm like, come on, please. But apparently, after doing a little bit of research, because I didn't want to be.
I don't think it would have came in the house though. I mean, it might have because it was warmer inside, but at the same time, I don't know.
Looking for a place to hide.
I live in the mountains of upstate New York, and we do have rattlesnakes, and there's actually a road called Rattlesnake Hill, and there's rattlesnakes, but none go in houses or anything.
I think it was a stretch on reality.
Right.
You know, as far as, yes, snakes can come out in the snow. Most likely it would not have since they're, you know, where they were located. But it wasn't so far-fetched. But again, it's just kind of a little bit of a stretch on reality. So,
yeah. It was weird to see her point a gun at it, though, and try to shoot it, and it didn't go off. And then the husband walks in and goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" He grabs it and smushes the head with the butt of the gun.
Well, okay, so then I'll just take my turn for acting and just interject here. But I thought that was brilliant because it showed how kind of like also how insecure and inadequate she was. Because like a lot of people I saw before I watched the movie, I saw a lot of people, I had tried to avoid spoilers and stuff, and they were saying this is a very different role for Gina Carano because she's always known as the kick butt, you know, kind of gun slinging type of thing. Yeah, she always seems to know what she's doing. She's had proper training and whatnot. And so for her to be really clumsy with a gun, the idea of trying to shoot a rattlesnake with a shotgun right next
to the baby. Yeah. What?
Yeah. Oh, see, we would say that that's absolutely ridiculous. Of course it is. But she was in this situation where she's not thinking clearly. She's in the moment. And I really thought that she did well in this scenario that I never would have like placed.
Right. I did say the acting was good. So
no, I'm not getting on your case, Dan. I'm just being passionate about what I'm saying. No, you said everybody did a good job, even the snake. So, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Even the snake.
And so I thought was interesting that was tonight I was watching, they were having a premiere on the Daily Wire with like the directors and the producers and everything like that. And they were saying that they had to constantly remind Gina that she did not belong to the SWAT team every time she picked up a gun because she is so familiar and has proper professional gun training. And because of all the movies that she's made, that when she picks up a gun, she knows how to handle it. And they're like, no, you remember that this character has no idea what she's doing. And like Dan said, she shot like a stormtrooper because she was supposed to, because she didn't have a clue what she was doing.
Yeah, but even some of those shots where they're kind of close, she should have hit at least one.
I will agree with that a lot of the gunfighting sequences, especially with the guys that should have known what they were doing, that were in the war.
Yeah, exactly.
They should have been a better shot.
They were part of the Confederate.
I do know that those guns are not known for precision and accuracy. So I'll give a little grace there. But yeah, like the bag. Let me tell you, the screaming was so perfect for the different scenes. Like when the guy was being cauterized, when the guy was getting scalped. Like, oh my word, these men did
they brought it in.
Frighteningly good job at screaming.
Yeah. And
so
why didn't I didn't understand the part where the husband asks her, what happened after she sewed up the Indian girl.
Well, because she's
and
just
she didn't want
sitting
to
there.
talk.
Yeah, she's
like
basically sitting there having like PTSD, and she's covered in blood, and he's like, "What happened?"
Right.
And she can't even talk about it because
but then the next scene, he was like, "Well, they got off the what are those called? Where the
reservations.
they got off the reservation. It's okay, I don't know. It was weird. It was
well,
just weird.
Dan, not all men are very good at consoling their wives.
There.
Yeah, exactly. There, you'll be all right. They're there. So
here's some ice cream.
Yeah,
there you go. Here's some chocolate ice cream. You're good.
I did think that it was funny, some of the cliche, the tropes of the word choices for the bad guy, because like the bad guy, she literally could hit a bar. Yeah, she literally could hit a bar.
Yeah.
Those were the stormtroopers with their helmets off.
Exactly.
Yeah, even their helmets were off. Yeah.
I just thought it was funny too. Like they decided, as per usual, the bad guy has the big vocabulary and is the scripture quoting dude, and everybody else is stupid. Like that is such a Western trope.
Scriptures, and he was the evil guy.
Well, because a lot of people use religion to justify their means. So I mean, that's just that's just the way of life. But I was just like, it's so funny because it's just like he had this huge thesaurus vocabulary, and I'm like, this is so common in Westerns. The bad guy always has bigger education than than the minions and everything like that. But yeah, I give acting a point. I thought besides the little kid was a little weird for me. But he's a little kid. I'll give him a little grace for it. But
yeah, of course.
I like.
Yeah, I mean the acting was fine. What they had to work with. I didn't really see anything like too off.
Mm-hmm.
The main guy, main bad guy. I kept on thinking. I'm like, yeah, with his vocabulary. I'm like this. He almost wrote his character almost like Quentin Tarantino writes his characters with a very big vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay. One of my favorite scenes was actually the guy coming to the window and like kind of telling her like, yeah, I'm out here, by myself. They don't know I'm out here. I actually really enjoyed that sequence of them talking back together to each other. And then you hear him, he slips up at the end, and then boom, he shoots him. And then you see the next scene of them on the hill. Oh, darn it. But I was pretty intrigued. I'm like, that actually brought me in. That whole conversation was actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
So I give it a point for acting.
I see that Lady Marine was talking about the accuracy or the inaccuracy of the guns. Exactly. It's true to the times back then. Again, I think we are so accustomed. Like they really tried hard to make this film more realistic. And I appreciate that. And we are not familiar with that anymore in our films. And so I think that kind of takes people by surprise.
Well, I am.
Too much blood, though, in a couple of scenes. Just saying. A 5-gallon bucket of blood wouldn't be pouring out of somebody's neck like that.
I wouldn't know. Would you, Dan? Like,
unfortunately, I have seen something on YouTube way back in like 2008. And, it was about the Taliban, and it was for real somebody cutting off a woman's head.
Oh.
And it wasn't that bloody, but, it was pretty bad. It's pretty gross.
I don't know, because, you cut a cow and it gushes pretty badly. So,
Well, not like that, though. It doesn't, like, pour out like a river. And
It does. It does.
Well, I mean, I cut my finger a long time ago on glass, and it just ran down like a waterfall, and we had to I got to get 3 or 4 stitches.
I think it depends on what you hit.
Yeah, that's true.
Like what side. But I will say that when they cut his throat, that was a little gimmicky. Like you could almost like something. You could tell there was like something on his neck. It wasn't. It wasn't, but I didn't have an issue with that per se, but I could tell that it wasn't.
What I would have liked better, which I would have probably cringed more to, is if they zoomed in on the guy's head and didn't really show it, but just kind of, kind of like what they did in Braveheart.
Imagination.
Yeah, your imagination goes wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for anybody who hasn't seen this film yet, this is an R-rated movie.
For really good.
For really good. That's right. For righteous.
Was it rated? I didn't even see.
It's actually on Daily Wire. It's rated MA. I don't think I don't think it qualifies for MA because
I don't know what MA
for me
means.
It's not a Disney movie.
MA stands for mature audiences. And
isn't that like a video game or TV show rating or something? MA.
Yeah. Oh. But I think this would be on the milder side of R because the cuss language is not.
Yeah, there wasn't.
Exuberant.
Was there any swear words?
There was, but it wasn't. It wasn't obnoxiously done, and I'm so thankful for that. And
I want to see Ben Shapiro play a cowboy. That'd be hilarious. Like he just talks.
While he's shooting the guns.
Oh, that'd be so amazing.
I like that.
You have to make it a comedy. I want to see a comedy with Ben Shapiro and a Western. That'd be amazing.
But I mean, there are only a couple of parts that are really, to me, really gory. People were trying to like talk about how gore. I must have a different experience level when it comes to watching gore because I didn't like the scalping scene in the beginning, but I'm like, all right, whatever.
But that brought you into the movie.
Yeah, but they didn't even show the whole thing of the scalping scene, so it was like
well, I think they were trying to set the tone. Set the tone. And so then later on, when she's like stabbing the guy, I'm like, well, I mean, she's just stabbing the guy.
There's a little continuity issue right there when she was stabbing the guy. And then the boss man, I don't know, the big bad guy or whatever, he comes in and sees his body laying on the floor. If you looked at the body, there was no like gash wounds. They looked more like scars. It was weird. But
I was more about how he magically got his pants back on, but
that too.
But I appreciate that.
That's the production assistant.
Right, I appreciate that.
PA, get over here. Okay, put his pants on.
But so just but little things like that, But I thought that was as far as the gore and everything like that. I guess it just depends on the person. I was fine. Normally I can't handle gore. I was fine. This was fine for me. So, what's next? I get this confused. I get it. Okay, I was about to say music.
Cinematography.
Cinematography.
That's it.
Cinematography. I like that.
How sweet.
That's pretty good.
Now the cinematography for me.
Oh,
it was okay.
Dan is very particular about his cinematography.
Yeah, so. That's it. It was okay, but like after seeing like the behind the scenes photos and all that throughout the filming and stuff, you see it on Twitter and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting more of a luscious, beautiful looking, B-roll. We're showing like the mountains and how beautiful it looked, But it was more kind of, and I get why they did it the way they did, because it was supposed to be like dark, gloomy,
gritty.
Like, oh, this woman doesn't want to be here, so we got to make the land look like she doesn't want to be in this land, and the land is dark and gloomy, and it looks horrible. But at the same time, they didn't really do a lot of wide shots or a lot of B-roll for the land that they were on. They did more so tighter shots. All the shots were tight. And I guess I get it. But at the same time, I wish you could see a little more. So it wasn't that bad. Obviously,
my favorite shot, I think, was there was a semi-wide angle shot where she's in the door frame and she's looking out. I love that shot, and they just held on that for a time. I love shots like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll give the cinematography a half a point, because there's some parts I did like. But
look at Dan giving all the half points tonight.
Well, that's my first half point, Dewey.
He had a quarter before.
Which turned into a 0 because
that's what it was. It was Matthew that gave the plot a half point. That's what
right.
it was.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm like, Dan, what in the world? You okay over there? You want to need to talk something else? Oh my goodness.
So I mean, it wasn't the worst cinematography I've seen, but it wasn't like the best.
Okay.
Could have been a little bit more elaborate, in my opinion. But
well, again, low budget. For trying to remember. So with the budget that they had, does that change your opinion at all?
No, because with low budget, I think you could have still done a decent job.
We'll hold you to that standard when One World comes out.
Oh, well, One World has nothing. I didn't know anything about lighting back then. I didn't know anything about anything back then. So
R2, that is hilarious.
R2.
That's funny.
Would you like to go over cinematography, Matthew?
Cinematography, sure. It was. Yes, they did it well. I thought they did it well. They shot it just kind of like a Western, and with the technology they have now to make everything look super HD, I mean, like it's all there.
Yeah.
And I thought they did fine. You felt the grittiness, you felt the rawness, you felt the realness of the entire film. So I give it a point. Some cinematography.
Justin, stop telling everybody it's my birthday. Liar. It's misinformation. Okay? It's not my birthday.
How come it's your birthday every time we go live?
That'll be the new thing. So I'm literally going to start saying cinematography. Cinematography. Say all of the syllables in there. Cinematography. I will just go ahead and say that I give it a point because I thought that it was very well done as far as it had a lot of the grittiness, but with the color coding and everything, it was very current. You've got a lot of that teal
That's very true.
color and everything like that. For the darker portions and things like that, for the shadows and whatnot. So that I found that was good. I liked a lot of the shots that they did. I mean, I didn't have to necessarily have everything wide angle. I think it would have been helpful to explore the expanse of the landscape a little bit more, like Dan had said, just because they were in the beautiful mountains of Montana and everything. And I think that would also really help you I mean, I felt like she was alone. I felt like they were isolated. But I think just as a bonus, as an add-on to help that a little bit more, if they would have had some shots more of the landscape to really give that feel of like we are way out here, like we are Little House on the Prairie, man. Like, so, but I mean, was it necessary? No, but would have been helpful? I think so. But I think that I like the shots. I do like the way things were done. And again, listening to some of the behind the scenes stuff and with what they had to work with, I think they did a lot of beautiful work. I'm going to kind of mix a little bit of the effects with the cinematography. Apparently, all the fires in this film were real, from setting the house on fire to the campfires, which, again, you can get your t-shirt, that they were all real. And that there was no CGI for any of that. And I have mad respect for that. And they were saying that they were using the landscape, like we all could have saw, that they were using the landscape as its own character to try to really help you understand the setting, like give the feel of the setting and stuff like that. And it was interesting that when they were choosing the locations, they found that spot and they were gauging the clouds. Like, how can we use the clouds to our advantage with, I guess, the altitude and everything where they were at. So that's pretty cool. I mean, a lot of thought went into the location of where they were going to film this. And I forgot to mention this with acting. I have this written in my notes as last minute. But apparently, fun fact, the guy who trained Keanu Reeves for John Wick taught Gina Carano with her weapons.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
That is pretty cool.
Like, wow, that's pretty cool.
I like John Wick.
Yeah, I do too.
That's just let's get into it.
I know, right? And so wasn't the cow CGI?
No.
That was really sad, wasn't it? Poor Daisy. But
Justin Proper also says that he's not going to watch the whole stream tonight because he's about to watch the movie. So he hasn't watched the movie yet.
And he hopes that I continue to have a happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Well, I will when my birthday comes, Justin. I'm sure it will be thank you. You're either really late or very early for my birthday, and I appreciate that on both. I'm both. It's like a little bit like Schrodinger's cat. I am simultaneously disappointed and happy about the wishes, because I don't know if you're just late or early. So,
Brian B said it worked for him.
I mean, you did. I really did get the feeling of isolation. I just think Dan, I think it would have helped a little bit more. Maybe it would have looked prettier just to see more of the landscape as itself. But I definitely give it a point because I enjoyed it. I thought it was well done.
All right.
The next category should be very quick. I think.
The music.
Just go right through, guys. The 90s soundtrack was amazing.
I think the music did its job, did a decent job, so I'll give it a point.
What are you talking about?
The music?
There was no music.
There were sounds.
That's not music. there were sounds.
There's sounds. There's always sounds.
Yeah, but
there was no music, really?
There was.
The only time they had music was like at the end with the credits. You didn't notice that it didn't have music?
I guess I didn't notice that.
They did a good job with the ADR
in my head.
Then they did a good job keeping captivated just enough that you didn't notice there wasn't any music.
Must be. Dan always hears music.
Dan always hears music.
Given the fact that you didn't hear any of the music because you literally thought there was music, how would you rate the music of this movie, Dan?
The music that I heard in my head.
Guard.
I give it a point.
Okay, I love it. That
amazing. And,
Dan's off his meds again.
I don't remember anything, so 0.
You don't 0 for you, Matthew?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did you not notice there was no music?
Yeah, I noticed that. Oh. It's just
you didn't. Did you not like that?
No, it worked. It's just if there was no music.
Just one song at the end.
Okay, well, I'm gonna base this on whether or not the music or the lack thereof worked for the film. I saw that a lot of people had some qualms with the fact that there's no music. Again,
it's a Western, people. Learn about Westerns.
Like Brian says, a lack of music was an interesting choice. But it's one of those things that I think that this was a creative choice. Simultaneously could have helped the film in different ways, but at the same time, I didn't think it was bad because, again, this was a different kind of movie. You really got the feel that you're almost going to need to attempt to feel something. You're meant to understand, like read into the characters and. Like, I don't know. I felt like this movie was a journey of the senses and that you kind of needed to move your own self forward and like invest in the film in order to appreciate it a little bit more. But I liked the fact that it had no music, but I would have been okay if it had music as well. So for creative liberty and interest, I give it a point as well.
Sound design was wonderful.
I do have a little bit of a qualm with the sounds. There was a section where the horse, that was not in sequence. I can't remember what part it was, but like I noticed it and I'm like, oh, that's off. Like how did they not catch that? That is not in harmony with the actual movement of the horse. I should dock it a half a point for that.
Probably should. Look at that. First act, they wanted you to feel miserable, like
Hattie.
Hattie?
Yeah, it was her name.
Oh, her name is Hattie?
Hattie. Yeah. Dan's like, I didn't hear her name because I was too busy listening to the music.
The music was so good.
Yes,
I didn't know that there was no music.
Yeah, you did feel her misery. And I think at the beginning, for a lot of people, myself included, I was kind of like, where are we going with this film? Because I'm feeling a little bit depressed.
Yeah.
That was the point.
I don't know.
So
it was weird.
I felt like this was definitely an immersive kind of film.
She was like doing laundry and hanging the clothes in the house, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what she was doing? It was weird.
A lot of people did that.
Well,
Hades
is miserable too. It's true. True.
I kind of want to change my point system now, but I can't because Dan said once it's finalized.
No, you can. Go ahead.
Oh,
I mean, like,
sure. But if I change it another time, Dan will be, I'm sorry, it's written in blood.
That's it.
I mean, when I'm talking about like westerns with the music, like westerns are like in nothing. There's just wind. There's the sand going. So the reason they put music in a certain place would add like tension or add to like the drive of a gunfight that's going to happen.
Oh,
right. When I say like it's a western, I mean like it's almost a silent film when you're watching a western. Yeah. Even when you're watching old films.
Yeah.
There's a very specific time to add music to a scene. And when they don't do it, you're still in the world of like almost silence because you're in a desert. You're in nothing. You're in the grit of everything.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, I would when I watch Clint Eastwood movies and there's like nobody's talking. They're just staring at each other. You see the sweat coming down their face, and you're just like, you yourself start feeling gritty, like you need to take a shower. Because I'm like, man, I've been sitting in the saloon way too long, and nobody's doing anything. And I think that's good creativity in my part, but yeah.
And they always do a lot of good directors. They'll look at the eyes or zoom in on the eyes, and the guys are observing what's going on with the person that just walked in. Like you go into a saloon, everybody stops, the music stops, everybody's like, okay, who's this person?
Wait, do you mean this one?
Nice, that's awesome.
Yes,
that's the perfect plug-in right there.
If anybody in the chat didn't know what we were talking about.
That's awesome. That was the perfect timing for that. Good job. Huzzah!
Right. I live in the desert and I hear music all the time.
Take your earphones out of your ears.
All right. Well, we have one last category to discuss.
All right. Before we get into that, why don't you do a commercial break? Because I'll be right back.
Oh, after these message reward from our sponsor, which I guess is me because I bought this shirt from our merch store. But, well, everybody, so far, thank you for hanging out with us as we're reviewing Terror on the Prairie. Hopefully you're enjoying the episode. Again, none of this is meant to reflect, like, if we hate or love people. We're just watching a movie and hanging out. But Dan wants me to... Right, giving out some heavy spoilers here, but we appreciate you all hanging out with us here on Inside the Booth. If you do feel like you would like to support us because you like what we do here, giving out movie reviews every Sunday evening and Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time there, and you want to support the channel, there are ways to do that in the description box down below. You can become a Patreon member for as little as $1 a month. You can also, again, buy our merch. You can get our Manflix t-shirt with a nice joke, inside joke, Inside the Booth. It's not a real man's movie unless it has a campfire. So instant Manflix, just add campfire. And you can also, if you just want to give a one-time donation, there is a link for our PayPal down in the description below. Everything goes to help the channel. And boys, I just got to interrupt my vibe right there. But you
can keep going. I was just posting something.
It's kind of hard to not, when someone brings up the bathroom, not to pause and just be like. But anyway, yes, absolutely. If you like what we do here, you get Dan, you get David, you get Matthew, you get myself, and we have some awesome guests on the show. And like I had said before, we just recently had our 3rd episode of Girls Night. Girls Night, not just for the ladies, and we were doing macho, manly movies and doing women's take on masculinity. And it wasn't, despite what some people were saying, we weren't bashing men. We were just talking about cringy movies and why we had a hard time with some of the beloved movies of certain franchises. But Dan is back and we're ready to get on with the show. Support us if you would like. Hit the like button, subscribe, ring the little notification bell to get all of our upcoming videos. Dan, take it away.
Did you do the merchandise video?
I did not, because I displayed everything nicely on my shirt and talked about it in great detail.
Oh, all right. So
about what we offer here.
Good enough. Good enough then. All right. Allegory. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. So,
right. Don't jump all at once. I've been going first the whole time here.
Well, I just figured because you're in the first place corner, you know.
Oh, right,
but
right. You want to be in the first place corner?
I'm good. I'm sticking with my man Hubert. He took me away from the duck. All right, whatever.
Wrong
man.
way. This way.
Yeah, see, you don't even know how to hang out with Hubert over there.
I don't.
Okay?
Let me switch you back.
Thank you. I'm more comfortable over here in my own little corner, right in the corner where you are. This is my corner. So the Allegory. I basically. Oh, excuse me. 1 second. Kaylee said they didn't get to see the T-shirt. So here it is. Instant Man Flicks. Just add campfire. Yes, yes. There is a link for that specifically down below as well. But and you can get it in numerous colors. So if maroon is not quite your vibe, get it in black. Get it in green. Whatever. Sweet. So for the Allegory, what I like about this movie, and again, without having some kind of hidden agenda and all this stuff, I like the fact that this was a movie that really portrays rather a true testimony to actual women's empowerment. Okay, because this woman, like many of the forefathers or foremothers, however, that sounds really weird when you say it like that. The people that have come before us, if you think about the women and the men, of course, but since this movie's centered on a woman, the women that dealt with so much, relocating, their lives in our country here and what they had to go through. I just find that so powerful and amazing what the human experience is for each person and the obstacles that they can overcome. This is a woman that has an infant and a preteen child, and her husband goes away to go get the supplies. She's absolutely miserable. She misses her old life.
Bring back.
And
what was it? Cincinnati she was from? What was the?
She was from Missouri, right?
Missouri.
Or was she
Louis?
from
Was it St. Louis?
Or was she from San Francisco?
I think it was St. Louis.
I know they talked about St. Louis. So. I couldn't remember if her husband was from St. Louis and she was from San Francisco. I couldn't remember. But either way,
something like that.
She changed her world to marry this man, not knowing what exactly was going to happen and how to survive. And just, we need more people in this world that are willing to just put in some grit. Just get the job done. And I like that you can see a little bit was far-fetched because of the fact that it's a movie, but I like the fact that you really see the progression of her character. And she was just like, I hate being here, but gosh darn it, I'm going to do what I have to do to protect my kids, to keep my family safe, to look out for my husband. The fact that she was going to sacrifice her virtue so to keep her husband alive. That's not nothing. And for the Allegory, I think this was a really good testament to proper women's empowerment, where it wasn't like she was trying to be better than men. She was trying to be a better woman.
Mm-hmm. So is that a point?
Yes. I was waiting for someone to ask. Look, I've been asking all night. I want someone to ask me.
All right, Matthew, you're next. I want to be last this time.
Oh.
So I forgot about this, and I'm like, what should I say about it? The whole movie deals with kind of like when you finally realize what the movie's kind of about and why everything is happening is pretty much because of the sins of the father, right? Of his past. Mm-hmm. So everything that's happening to her is pretty much because of the guy that something happened to past, and they didn't discuss what he did before that. So I'm like, holy crap! She had to go through all this stuff. She was kind of like. She was kind of like Job. Job is the ultimate suffering story, right? So she had to suffer all through this because of the sins of the guy, and the guy's trying to do right now to get the supplies, but didn't realize his past is right behind him. Literally.
Yeah.
So, in the Allegory, that response, I would probably give it a point just because of all that. I mean, it was pretty well executed when you finally got to see like what is all happening, like you said earlier, Dan, when you finally get to know what the crap is happening at the end, like, oh, now I understand all this.
Yeah,
okay.
now I understand why this.
It wasn't really sprinkled throughout the film until the very, very end. Sure.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
I would definitely give it a point just because of that. And I mean,
it's a good one.
Yeah.
It is.
All right, Dan.
Beautiful. So
bring the law.
So what's the score? The points set up. What do we got?
I'm not telling you until you give your allegory. That's
I gotta do one.
Of course you gotta do it. Of course, you're the host of the show.
You're Dan the Law.
Of the mostest. Not a hostess. I'm a host. So I got a little bit of like a redemption feel, where even though he left to get supplies and decided not to get supplies, he kind of redeems himself by coming back like the hero on the horse, a knight in shining armor, riding on his his steed.
He didn't take the furniture.
That's right, he didn't take the furniture, which was good.
Always a good thing.
Yeah, even though he was already, kind of halfway there, like almost stepping. Oh, kind of like he's on the fence, he was on the fence. Should I finish falling all the way into sin, or should I stop, type of thing.
Yeah, they portrayed that really well.
Yeah. So he basically, and he basically stopped falling all the way into sin. He's like, he didn't say this, but he should have said, "God forgive me," and then saw the wanted poster after. But he saw the wanted poster and he's like, "Whoa!" After he pushed the lady away, he's like, "Whoa, wait a minute, I gotta go." So then, there you go. And then he decided to get out of Dodge, steal a horse, and go. Yeah, so redemption, I guess, would be my allegory. Rex says, where do we find this movie?
On dailywire.com.
Yep, the Daily Wire app.
We have to sign up, though.
I don't know. How do you say that last word there?
Fandango.
Fandango.
Yeah, Rex, it's on the Daily Wire app, so you're going to have to sign up and become a member for a couple of months so you can watch this beautiful movie. I hope they put it out on DVD at least, because I would...
Blu-ray.
Because I would buy it. Definitely would be a movie I would buy.
Well, before you get to that, do you give this allegory a point, this movie in the point? Like...
I'll give it a half a point because it wasn't as prominent as as I think it should have been. But
okay, I do want to quickly, before I tally all the points, I do want to point out for the plot and everything, and again, we agree the writing needed to be refined, the storytelling, like the plot
and subpar.
So one scene that, like, okay, excuse me.
Fabulous Ado's here.
That the scene that Matthew liked, where she was standing in the doorway with the child with the snow, that was a beautiful scene. Yeah. That was absolutely stupid. I'm just saying. You know how long it takes to heat a shack?
Yeah.
And then she just leaves the door.
I actually thought that too. I was like, well, they got the shot.
Not only that, infants were notorious for just dying so quickly because of sickness and
because of cold. Yeah.
Yes, I was just like, it was a beautiful scene. Like, it was touching, but at the same time, it was just like
letting out all the hot air.
Not closing the door.
And then at the end, and this goes back to the Ewok Adventure movie, is the fact that when she crossed the river and set her children free, and then later on she's with her husband, he's like, where are the kids? She's like, they're fine, they made it across the river. To where? Where did they go?
There.
They were out in
Over
the
there.
middle of nowhere, and you left a 10-year-old, 9.5-year-old with an infant. What's he gonna do? How's he supposed to feed that child? Where did they go? How did they find them?
Movie magic.
Yeah, so weird,
So
right?
I had a big problem with that part at the end. Like, that was quite a loose end that bothered me in this film. But anyway, go ahead and talk about something while I tally this up.
Yeah, that was an issue I had to.
Be cool if they just ended it there, and then like we get part 2, like what happens to the older guy and the baby.
What happened?
Part 2, what happened in those days?
See, that's where the Ewok adventure too. That's where it takes place. See, the little boy is actually Noah, and that's why he can't stand Sindel, is because his little sister passed away.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Furniture.
More furniture.
More
furniture is coming in.
Yeah. R2 or JT. Who's gonna?
I mean, I get that kids were more. I get what R2's saying, that kids were more mature back then, but there ain't no way a 9-year-old can feed.
Yeah.
Like a 10-month-old baby in the wintertime, might I add, in the plains of
and
nowhere.
That's another issue I had. Once in a while, like the baby wasn't in the scenes, where they're shooting and stuff, and you're like, why isn't the baby crying? Where is the baby? And then she goes to tell the kid, oh, hide the baby. Where are they gonna hide it? There was like no furniture.
It was a one-room shack.
Yeah, a one-room shack.
That baby did some amazing acting by staying quiet and not crying.
Yeah.
The baby knew to stay quiet.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like, shh, they'll hear us. Okay.
Shh, be quiet. Yeah. Okay, I'll be quiet.
I was actually waiting for the baby to actually like cry, and then they hear where they
yeah,
are.
and
That would have added
little
more
bit
tension.
of fire hit the baby's like basket, and the baby didn't even cry or do anything, and she's hitting the basket to put it out, and
the cameraman's going like this. Come on, don't cry, go cry.
Yeah, don't cry. We're gonna. Yeah. Anyways.
So yeah, I'm always gonna have an issue with a scene that sets children free in the woods and expect them to survive.
Yeah.
Always gonna have an issue.
Why didn't she fight the guys when they came up on her?
Because I think what she was trying to do was be a diversion, so it would give the kids time to run away. Because they were fighting the river too. So she was like, not only I'm gonna let them fight the river, I'm gonna let them take me. That way Johnny and little Susie can disappear and try not to die in the middle of the wilderness. So what we ultimately could have had
for babies to sleep. Firing with guys 5 feet from them.
Hey, I do have a friend that the only way she can get her infant daughter to sleep is by listening to heavy metal. It's the only thing that will soothe her daughter.
Oh, that's horrible. Pray for that family.
I didn't say I recommend it. I'm just saying that kid enjoys.
I'll pray for that family.
So anyway, this
heavy band is a Christian band.
This movie could have potentially gotten a maximum of 15 points. How many points do you guys think we ended up giving this film? Dan, what do you think? Okay.
6. I don't know.
All right. You think he gives 8? You are going to be shocked and awed. 11 out of 15.
Oh.
Good job to us for sharing our opinions.
Yes, thank you for sharing your opinion.
So really, like the only thing that was stemmed wrong was like kind of the plot stuff. I mean, everything else was pretty decent.
Yeah, everything else was pretty decent.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, and a lot of people, I've seen this as well, that they were trying to give honest reviews for this movie. And they were saying that, no, this wasn't the most fantastic film they'd ever seen. But the thing that I believe draws people to this film and why we appreciate it so much is more about what this film and the making of this film stands for more than the film itself. This stands for independent making.
Which that's where I have my gripe. I want to see a film just to see a film, not to be thinking like, what's the other point of making it? That's my gripe with that.
And so I think we can see that Daily Wire is on a good trajectory here. Like,
yes, for
they
sure.
They have talent. They have
potential,
they have a lot of potential, and I think that the more people invest in them and the more that they try to refine their craft, they are on a good track to
Yes,
somewhere.
they are.
And
Yes, they are.
we the people are very much behind what they have to say.
Yes.
And the message is we just want to be entertained. We don't want to be indoctrinated. And so I think that's why this movie gets so many reviews or good reviews as well. Even though it's not the best movie in the world, it's like again a breath of fresh air where it's like it's just a Western movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Yes.
The Chosen.
That's good. That's
series,
good. That's really good.
You know, and all low budgeted but very well done. You know, so
yeah. So, yeah, that would be our review on Terror on the Prairie, everybody.
Yeah, good job. Good job. Yeah, look at that on your shirt.
Grr. Someone mentioned there's something early about my shirt. I didn't get this say.
Yeah, you pulled your shirt down and you laughed. I saw that.
Yeah.
And like Jack said, there were campfires, so this was
a campfire,
real man's
movie.
It was a real man's movie. So Gina Carano, everybody, starring in a real man's movie.
They need to make a rom-com with Gina Carano. What does that mean? What's a rom-com?
It's a romantic comedy. I would love to see that one day. Seems like I'm so happy to see her expanding her horizons on the roles that she plays. So I would love to see her in a romantic comedy.
That would be interesting.
You're a really good actor or actress if you can transcend just being like one fit mold of a movie. For sure.
Yeah, and again, that's what I think I like about this film too, is that we are seeing a very different Gina Carano in this movie. That's what I wanted to say earlier. I forgot that, when they were like kind of going to bed before like he went off to get the supplies, they were working up like what her personality is like, I want to go home. And then the husband was saying like, you're the kind of like the most badass girl out here in the middle of nowhere. And even though she was just like, I'm not really so sure about that, it would have been cool, like, after, the guys come, that she finally realizes that somehow, like, oh, maybe I can live out here, since I protected everything. But I thought they needed, again, that was one of those things they needed to sprinkle. That'll be on Terror on the Prairie, too. The cows when the cows come home.
Yeah, when the cows come home. when they
really needed just some fine tuning. That's all it really had to do was fine tune some things. And then it would have been like poof through the roof if they fine tuned a little thing, some little stuff.
Yeah. I like her too. She was like, "I'm the only girl out here."
That's right.
And Dax is calling you out there, Dan, because he was saying you review movies and you don't even know what a rom-com is.
Well, I didn't know the abbreviation. Sorry, my bad. I know what a romantic comedy is.
Are we talking about computers?
Right. Yeah, right. That's what I was thinking. A rom-com, a rom and
rom computer.
I don't know. Yeah,
the ROMs
computer. Yeah. My brother said, "Go Top Gun."
That's a different movie.
Yeah, it is. But Top Gun is also one of those entertaining type movies lately. Well, from what we've been seeing, from Hollywood. So, Terror on the Prairie 2, Bessie's Revenge. Yes.
It'll be a comedy.
Poor cow died.
With Ben Shapiro is the voice of Betsy.
Like Homeward Bound, where it's like the thoughts.
Yes.
You don't see the mouth moving, it's the thoughts. That would be great. With Matt Walsh, I would love that.
You have to have subtitles because he talks too fast.
Yeah, because he talks too fast.
He's like a Jewish Eminem.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. They need to do something about that. That's really good. Jewish Eminem.
Kaylee says we'd like to see them do a Christmas movie sometime.
Never know.
That'd be fun. Yeah,
in the wilderness.
That's it. In the wilderness. All right. So before we go, guys, I have a little sneak peek for everybody to see. I made a video, so that'll be coming out tomorrow. But here's a little sneak peek of it.
Wait, hang on a second.
Oh, there you go. Make me big. It's going to make me big.
My computer froze. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Is it what you think it is? Is it? I don't know. You'll have to see. You're gonna have
Dan's
to watch.
such a tease. Yeah.
You're gonna have to watch the video when I post it tomorrow.
Nice.
It's a nice one. It's fun. Dave from Whitey Wicked Workshop sent me the parts and stuff.
Dave,
it's gonna be great.
I love that guy. He's good people.
Is it?
Well, so.
Oh man, someone already guessed. I didn't say guess.
Dan, you didn't need to acknowledge him. You just
sorry.
Like
we should delete that.
We'll cut that out.
Yeah.
We'll get that in post.
Like you don't have to acknowledge everything they say.
I know. I'm sorry. Hey, more furniture. All right. Well, that's it. That's the end of the show, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Being here.
Love you all.
Have a nice
Thanks
day.
for being here.
Bye. Have a great time.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Great day. Bye, everybody.
Are you not entertained?